Hey BC, it's Chad. Happy New Year. This will be my vinyl finds for December 2018. It was a very busy month for me, spending wise, um, and I have some great stuff to show you. I had a record show, I think, in the beginning of December. I actually got rid of about 2 boxes of stuff and picked up some good stuff in return. And got lots of stuff from local stores that I want to show you. So the first thing I have here is a 10-inch, and it comes in this weird little silver bag. I didn't have this, and it is the Butthole Surfers, and this is a single that contains tracks from the Independent Worm Saloon record. It comes on this brown vinyl here. So after a lot of raving from Record Store Day, Black Friday, I had some credit at a local store, so I went back and I picked up the 67 demos from Blue Cheer. And it's actually really great. Not that I doubted anybody, but just the one downside was that it was only one-sided. There's actually an advertisement on the second side that I'd never actually heard anybody mention, but there's only music on one side. It comes with a cool poster. The sound is excellent. The songs are super heavy, so Blue Cheer. I'm glad I picked this up. So grab a couple things here. I was at a local store actually just on Saturday, not a local store, but a store nearby that I don't usually go to, and they had 25% off used vinyl, and I did some digging and I found a prog rock kind of rarity, and it's this Infinity record. This was on the Paramount label, and they had advertised this as having a scratch or a skip on side B, so it was already discounted, but I got a good price on top of that. So this is a kind of expensive record, at least $50 to $60, I think. So I was happy to pay, like, I don't know, like 10 to 15, I think it was. So really great record. Female vocals. They do a cover of, I can't remember already, All Along the Watchtower from Bob Dylan, which is pretty good. So if you see this one around for cheap, I recommend picking it up. Affinity. Here was one I picked up actually on Monday. It's a band I like. I don't have anything in their catalog, but I actually did like this record. It's A Perfect Circle, and this is their Mer du Noms, I think it's called. I think this was their first full-length record. This is James Maynard Keen from Tool, along with some other members of Tool, and some members of, like, previously of Queens of the Stone Age, Troy Van Leeuwen, and a couple other people. So James from Smashing Pumpkins joined the band later, I believe. They had a new record last year, which I didn't even listen to yet, but this is the only record I have by them, so got this cheap as well. Perfect Circle. Here was another find where I got the Affinity record. I had no idea, but based on the cover, I had to look it up. It's called Sapo, and this was a special edited version for airplay only from the Bell label, a stereo. It's got this really trippy toad on the cover, and this is like Latin funk fusion type music. There's a couple bangers on here. I don't know if it's essential, but for what I paid for it, it was a good pickup. And this toad rolls. In my local store a couple weeks ago, I picked up one of the last few Ramones records, early ones I need. It's a UK pressing on Sire of the 2 LP It's Alive. Really great live record from the Ramones. Let me get some of this stuff out of here. Here's one that's kind of beat up. It's a radio promo, but it's an original on Poppy, and the vinyl's in like near mint Fiji Plus shape, so I had to pick it up. And this is kind of an expensive record, but I got it on the cheap because of the cover condition. It's High, Low, and In Between from Townsend and Zant. So this is another Poppy original that I have, so I only need maybe 2 or 3 others. So the record store I go to weekly got in a nice punk collection from someone, and I had to choose between some great records. So I was happy to pick up the Black Album from The Damned. This is on the why am I blanking right now? It's the International Record Syndicate. IRS. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. And I was super happy to pick this up. One of my favorite records. It's the self-titled Suicidal Tendencies record. And this is an original on Frontier, and it includes the, there's a insert in here, and really clean, minty copy, so there's no barcode or anything. I have a pressing I got, probably, I paid the original price tags on there, $7.99 was new, and so that was probably in the maybe early 2000s. I think I picked my copy up, so I'll probably keep that one, but it's a great record. How about some, I'll show you some blues I picked up from a local fair. Guy had a $5 box that I went through, and I found this rare and unreleased Muddy Waters record, and it's on the chest label. It's got a cut corner, but everything else is super nice. And I think last month, November, Vinyl Me Please had a Fathers and Sons Muddy Waters record reissue. I wasn't really familiar with it, so I passed on that one. And in my local store, I found a copy, an original pressing on chess. There's some, looks like water or something, and there's actually a cutout through the labels and everything. But you know, I think I paid like $7 for this, so it's an original first pressing gatefold copy. So Chess Records, Muddy Waters, Fathers and Sons. So I've shown a bunch of records from this guy, one of my favorite jazz people. I've been trying to complete his catalog. This is an original on Impulse. It's Pharoah Sanders' Wisdom Through Music. Really great record. It's on this ABC Impulse label. So a couple more jazz and blues here. So Danny at Not Enough Records is a fan of Yazoo, which he showed a bunch of stuff, and we both share a common interest in Robert Crumb artwork. and I really like this one. And it had the, you know, crazy title. It's called Please Warm My Wiener. It's got an artwork from Robert Crumb, and this is Old Time Hokum Blues. This is a compilation of kind of like risque hokum, they call it hokum style blues, which there's a lot of sexual innuendos going on. So great early Yazoo Records comp, and I really like the artwork here. So one of the records at the record fair I was able to pick up, I had traded for a bunch of my stuff. I was super happy to pick up this original copy of a Monistic Trio from Alice Coltrane. And this is an original pressing on Impulse. Really, really, really nice vinyl. There's a couple little pieces of ringware on here, but I was super happy to get this in a trade, so it didn't cost me. Alright, so I have a few records left here that I consider some grail finds and some heavy hitters here. One of the last things I just got via Discogs was a Mobile Fidelity pressing of Trompe Le Monde from the Pixies, and this was actually the last of the 4 records that were released on Mobile Fidelity that I needed for my Pixies collection, so that was awesome. And I paid whatever, you know, I think these are around $35 retail, so that's all I paid for 3 of them. And then Doolittle, I think I'd paid a little more. So they've all gone out of print since maybe earlier this year, and they're skyrocketing in price. So Pixies Trompe Le Monde. Here is one that I bought for Christmas for myself. One of my favorite records of all times. I've showed this in other facets, other pressings. It's Sonic Youth's Goo, and this is the Mobile Fidelity original master recording pressing. This came out in the maybe late 90s. It's on 200 gram vinyl. There's actually one of my most wanted records of 2019 is the Mobile Fidelity pressing of Nirvana's Nevermind, which is pretty expensive, so I'm gonna save up and try to get that this year. So really great sounding pressing. All right, so I got 4 records here left. Here was a really cool jazz pickup I found at a local shop. This is Sun Ra, The Sound of Joy, and this is an original pressing on Delmark. Really cool cover. I like the bright colors of it. Matches Sun Ra perfectly. I took the records I had left over from the record fair. I took to a local shop and traded in for credit, and they had this record on the wall still sealed, which I quickly grabbed. It is the soundtrack for Bram Stoker's Dracula, and this is an original Columbia pressing. This is the soundtrack from, I always butcher his name, Wojciech Kyler, I think is maybe, I don't know. But this is probably, you know, one of my top 10 soundtracks of all times. Really great soundtrack. So hopefully it gets a reissue sometime soon. But Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. All right, so I have 2 more records here. This one I grabbed at the sale with the Affinity record and the Sapo. I was super excited to find this. It is the West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band, and this is their Volume 2 record. The thing about this is it's a mono pressing, and I was super stoked to pick this up because it is a very rare white label promo. So I didn't have a copy of this. It's not exactly mint. It's, you know, like VG plus, I'd say. But for the price I paid for it, I'm not complaining. Really great record. So I need to pick up their first record as well. So, and then another record I picked up locally at a shop when they got that punk collection in. I was talking to the owner, and he mentioned he had some records that he hadn't put out, and I had asked for a specific band, and he said, yeah, I have this, but it's really expensive. And I asked to see it, and I went out and robbed the bank and then came back and took it home with me. So I found an original pressing of the Misfits Beware, and this was issued on Cherry Red Records in the UK, along with the Misfits Plan 9. So this was only ever released in the UK. This was basically a combination of two early singles, The Horror Business, hence where I get my channel name, and the Bullet 7-inch from the Misfits, along with Attitude. And this pressing is super expensive. I've never seen a copy anywhere, especially locally. This is a really nice copy. There's a lot of bootlegs of this out there, and one thing to look for originals is that above Jerry Only, there's this weird wavy smoke, and up here where the title is, it goes all the way to the edge of the record, whereas bootlegs, you know, have a little space up there. So, but the smoke has never been replicated in anything, in any of the bootlegs. So I was super happy to pick this up. I've been looking for one for a long time. So this was my top find of 2018. And I'll show you the labels here. We have the Misfits on one side, and I put it in like an extra sleeve just for extra protection. This one's cut at 45, so, and here we have the side 2. So that's pretty much all the good stuff I got in December. I probably had another box of stuff, but I didn't want to bore you with all that stuff. So we can start out in January with some fresh finds. I actually won something on eBay that I'm waiting for from last week, so it probably won't be in for another week or so. So I'll put that in my January finds. Really great year for 2018 for records for me. Got my new turntable. I've actually moved over on the couch here just because I have record boxes all in the way over there. I'm trying to figure out a way to reorganize my collection and just living space in general. So this will probably be my spot for the next month or so. But I appreciate you watching. Hopefully I'll make more videos in 2019. Thanks for watching. Peace.